very loving. I mean, she's she cared about everyone. Just a bright little, and she had just a good heart. She played softball, gymnastics, she's real athletic at everything she does. And then I just started teaching her golf because I loved playing golf. And yeah, no, I don't have a little golfing buddy.
Levon Moats is describing his 13-year-old daughter, Anayi Ruiz, a bright, outgoing student at Safford Middle School, a few hours outside Phoenix.
I guess her mom had said that, or she had told her mom that she was being bullied.
Levon claims his daughter kept complaining about two boys at her middle school.
She told her mom that they were pulling her hair, slapping her upside the head, calling her names, stuff like that.
Stuff that led Anayi to report the incidents.
So she went to school on Wednesday and told the assistant principal that she was being bullied, and the assistant principal told her that she's not the type of kid that gets bullied, that it wasn't true. And so she raised her voice and told the principal that it was, she said a cuss word, and they suspended her for saying a cuss word.
A punishment that would ultimately be a breaking point for this thriving teen.
Her mom picked her up, and her mom told her that she wasn't going to get in trouble, that she did everything right. And she said, I don't remember their conversation, but that very next day she went home, took a shower, and told her mom hi, and that was it. Her mom, Erica, called me screaming and told me that Annie had hung herself, and I just screamed, and I was driving immediately to Safford. Michael, our son, said that Annie, after she takes her, she always comes out of the room, and so he said he just looked and she wouldn't come out, so he went to check, and the door was locked, so he said he tried to open the door and called her name, and she wouldn't come out, so he kicked the door in and found her in the closet. For her to do something that drastic, it's just so out of her character. Right. Way out of her character. The people that knew her, she just lit them up.
Any tweener teen is troubled. They're going through the toughest time in their life.
Katie McPherson is the executive director of the Garion Institute. For 23 years, she's been working on school campuses, training students, counselors, parents, and teachers on how to help prevent teen suicide.
It's pretty serious. We're seeing an 85% increase statewide, and most districts are reporting from 2009 until currently about an 81% spike.
When it comes to teen suicide, there's not just one trigger.
There's so many moving parts between anxiety, depression, more academic rigor, parents, family dynamics, and a disconnect between kind of the virtual world that kids are living in and parents keeping up with what that all means.
She gets straight A's, and one semester ended up being straight F's, and I asked her, I was like, why do you have F's? And she goes, because the people are picking on me because I'm smart. I was like, who cares if you're smart? Look who's going to be someone when they grow up, you. And they're going to be looking at you in the long run. And then the next semester, she had A's and B's again.
Anayi's suicide adds to the growing number of teens taking their own lives in Arizona.
Our boys are really the ones that are completing these suicides. For example, in Arizona, right now, in the first 45 days of school, we've had 9, 8 of them being boys. In our populations, I call them the invisibles. So a lot of the students that we've lost in the last year and a half have really been our high-achieving kids with lots of friends, where academic rigor and maybe sports and athleticism are being pushed, not only by parents and coaches, but also by themselves.
So how can parents help? McPherson says start by stopping those one-liners.
Suck it up, let it go, you need to calm down. Well, why don't you find some new friends? Walk away. Those are really good intentioned one-liners, but behind them there's not a whole lot of meat or strategy for the kid to latch onto and say, okay, this is what I need to do with this kid that's bothering me, or something that's bothering me.
Sadly, even when a child does everything right and reports bullying like Anai did, suicide is not always preventable.
All families should not be afraid to go through their child's phones and electronics and whatnot and talk to them, because I mean it just happens in an instant. So don't be afraid to ask.
Do you feel you did enough?
No, I don't think I did.
Is our systems are actually tying the hands of our kids, and sometimes the victims are being re-victimized to the point where they don't know where to turn, and you have a lot of kids with lower coping and resiliency skills that don't know what to do. And on top of that, we have to remember the developing brain is only halfway there at age 11 for girls and 15 for boys. Specifically, Phoenix and Safford, currently in the last 45 days is where we're seeing what we call a point cluster, where there's a lot of suicide in one area within a very short amount of time. For example, in Phoenix, within a 10 to 12 mile radius, 9 of those students lived within that area.
Our mission is to bring awareness to bullying. I mean, it's not a joke. People just brush it away, but when it takes the life of precious children, that's all we got left to lead our legacy. You know what I mean?